keep in mind is that you want to develop different assets around this brand that you're creating. And again, I've dedicated entire seminars just to resumes. So if you guys are interested, by the way, we are having another event, and it's all about career building and how to kind of get to the next level. So we dive really deep into that. But tailoring or refining your resume and your portfolio around you is critical. And again, it kind of goes back to that little package. So I'm going to kind of tell another story. Again, I told you guys I was a bit of a storyteller, but in the next career fair that I've gone to, where I had that experience with Visa, what I didn't tell you was that I went to about 20 other booths, and I had different resumes on hand and different elevator pitches that I was able to pull from, and I landed a phenomenal internship that summer. So yeah, it didn't work out with Visa and I was bummed, but I was still able to land something, and it worked out really well in the long run. So having different resumes and assets that you can pull from that still speak to your brand but are tailored to different sectors is doable, and it'll actually help you diversify yourself. Consider, again, developing your business cards, your website around that, and then a few other things on experience. It's so important to have any experience, because even if you're not working at the top company you want to work at, having a little experience at even a startup can go such a long way, and it'll help you get to the next level. And then finally, always have a plan B and a plan C. It kind of goes back to the story I told you guys about how I was able to find another job at the career fair. Having other options to fall back on if one doesn't work out will help. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. Okay, so this one is huge. Once you've gotten your foot in the door, what do you do then, right? Because just because you have a job doesn't necessarily mean you're getting sponsored tomorrow. So I actually, as I mentioned, found my current job on Handshake, and I was brought on as an intern originally. So I knew the moment I got there that I had to outwork the competition. There were other interns there. There were Americans that I'm sure were applying for positions. And even when I was in a seat, I wasn't necessarily fully hired. So I still had to really prove myself each and every day. So outworking the competition and really showing up and being the absolute best that you can is so important. How do you do that? Be passionate, be excited, ask questions, be an active learner. Even if it's somewhere where you don't know that you want to be there forever, showing up is so important. Showing up on time, being eager to be there. People want to be around people who are exciting and who are, appreciative of the opportunity, and that's really a way to set yourself apart. So a lot of the times, that's kind of what Anna was saying, you can't teach those kinds of soft skills, but you can teach all the other skills. So having a great attitude goes such a long way. Being a sponge, again, building bridges with coworkers. So another story, the company that I'm currently at, there are people who were there when I started who aren't there anymore. And because I built great connections with them, now they're trying to hire me. So it is important to build those bridges, because you never know where they could lead down the road. And again, it might not even be a place that you see yourself working long term, but still build those connections. And then I would say, once you're there, plant the seed. Pick the right moment. Timing is everything. But what do I mean by plant the seed? When I was an intern at Dannon, I remember my boss at the time had mentioned that they were bringing someone on full time, and I expressed interest in her, or interest in the position. I said, listen, I really want to work here. If you guys have anything open, I would love to join your team, but the reality is I need sponsorship, and is that something that your company is able to do? And she said, if you get me the information, I'll work on it. Having those that information, again, that's why I said know your options, is really important, because when you do plant the seed, you want to be able to go to whoever your boss or superior is with a full page of information so that they can vouch for you in the moments where you can't necessarily be in the room. She ended up leaving the company about a month into my process, but what was great is her boss's boss already had the information because I had kind of done the due diligence. I always say be your own publicist, but you really have to, because you never can rely on anyone who says or gives you their word to vouch for you in those critical moments. So when she left, I had to be the one contacting HR, and I had to be the one, again, planting the seed constantly and letting people know who were able to kind of make those key decisions that this is something I want to do, this is what I need to get it done, and they can take it from there. And then persistence pays off. It's not always going to be a guarantee, but if you're persistent and you're serious about it, people will take notice and they'll be on your side. So I always like to end with a quote. This one is one of my favorites. I probably overuse it way too much, but I always say, if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. You have to kind of forge your own path a lot of the time, and sometimes it is very cookie cutter, and you have all the steps laid out, but sometimes it's not, and you have to be creative and be scrappy. So if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. And I know we're going to open it up to a bit of Q&A, but I also wanted to let you guys know, if you flip to the next slide. Yeah, so I'm going to be hosting with my co-founder Fabi another event on April 14th. It's Career Tips and Sips. It's completely free, by the way, but we do brunch and we bring in professional recruiters to give advice on how to level up in your career. And we will have a panel of esteemed young professionals. Last time we had a panel, we had someone from fashion, we had someone from tech, we had someone from recruiting. So it's very diverse, lots of different perspectives. And then there's also a component that will be dedicated to dressing for success. So that is on April 14th. And then if you want to go up a slide, you guys can also follow me on Instagram at Miss Motivate. I give a lot of tips and basically have an entire platform dedicated to sharing different kind of tips on how to break into the workforce, things that I did. So feel free to follow me there. We also have an influencer one, which I'm always linking, so it's in my bio. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, I think we can open it up. Everyone is always shy when it comes to questions.
Did you have a question?
I did, yeah, but I don't know if people want to.
What's your question?
So I utilize Handshake a lot, and I know that I have to put that I'm an international student before even looking for positions. Mm-hmm. And I know that many companies that I think like I'm a perfect fit for, they already say that they don't accept international students even as their interns. Would you suggest still applying and just taking a chance, or not doing that because they said they don't want any?
I think if they explicitly say that we are vehemently opposed to hiring international students, I would say don't waste your time. Only because a lot of the times it's a firm policy. That being said, if a company doesn't explicitly say that, then I would still apply. Do you have a different opinion on that?
The only organizations that legitimately can't sponsor are government agencies. So my perspective is, I would say apply or utilize other resources to engage, because sometimes they may say they don't sponsor, but they will for the right candidate. So I think that's a really great opportunity to talk to them at the career fair to find out, because yes, there are some that just say, we don't do it, we don't do it, we don't do it. But sometimes if the right candidate comes along, they might be willing to do so. So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
I know when I was going to the career fair, did I tell you guys I worked at TD Bank in Canada? So I worked at TD Bank in Canada, and I remember going to the career fair and I saw TD was hiring. But even though I had worked at TD Bank in Canada, they told me that I couldn't even apply because they had a policy. So I guess you're right, it is a good opportunity if you can have a face-to-face. Here's my one tip with that. Definitely go for the companies that say that they're open to sponsorship, because then you already know you have a shoe in. So that's a good way. So did I tell you guys about how I formally got the job that I have? So I'd seen that Dannon was looking for a communications intern or an advertising intern, and they're a Fortune 500 company. So when I went on Handshake and I saw that they were open to sponsorship, I knew immediately that, okay, this is a place where I might be able to finesse my way in. And I applied, I had bookmarked the application on my favorites. And I remember they were closing the application on like the first week of December. So I said, okay, I'm gonna wait until like Thanksgiving break when I have a little bit more time and then I'll apply. Thanksgiving break rolls around, I click on the application and we're not accepting applications anymore. They took it down early. So here I was, I had my heart set on this company, they had checked all my boxes, qualifications, check, hours, check, open to sponsorship, perfect. But they took down the application, so I'm thinking to myself, great, now what? Called up Topple, begged for an interview, and they said, no, we're not taking any interviews anymore. We're, they closed it early, and, too late, too bad, so sad. I'm thinking to myself, now what? I continued to pick up the phone, continued to call Topple, and was like, listen, I've had my heart set on this company, and I don't know how, but I need an interview. Send them my resume, and I'll figure it out after. So they finally agreed. They sent my resume over to the hiring manager, and I was able to lock in an interview. Got the interview. I guess it went pretty well because they brought me on full time. And now I've been with the company for 2 years, have a sponsorship and a promotion under my belt. So if you are that serious about a company, then being extra persistent and really kind of being that eager beaver, I think can go a long way. I know it was one of the biggest reasons why I got hired was because I was so excited about potentially working there, but that's what I mean when I say persistence really pays off, and that's the type of persistence that will land you the job.
So that's an actually perfect segue to Christine to talk a little bit about OT.
Thanks, guys.